Psychologists just believe that we should have unconditional positive regards to our clients. In other words, if your client is a Christian and you're a Muslim, it doesn't change things. How many of us have been to medical facilities, especially the women, and you want to deliver, and you start asking the doctor, are you a Muslim or Christian? I don't think that holds. What psychology does is, from neck up, we call it cognitive processes. Neck down is emotional. Your feelings, and sure leg forward, your behavior. In other words, psychologists not only study cognitive processes of man, emotional tendencies and dispositions of man, but essentially including their behavior, either in adaptive or maladaptive environment. Let me caution, psychology is not about psychopathology. In other words, psychology is not looking at your illness classically. Psychologists are supposed and indeed are designed, trained, and manufactured and delivered to humanity to look at the well-being of man. And so we think of psychology as being interested in psychological well-being. I challenge you, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, to look at how many divisions of psychology do we have. You will see not less than 53 at the last time I checked. In other words, 53 departments of man's life, either developmental, educational, counseling, and so on and so forth. Ladies and gentlemen, in Nigeria, the need for psychological services desire strong position to be seen. And that is why it is the missing link in Nigerian socio-economic development. You may tend to wonder, more often than not, Nigerians will be complaining the roads are bad. That's why we have more accidents. The psychologists will look at the human factor. Come along with me. If the road is bad, the engine is bad, and you have a good driver, are you going to have more accidents? Food for thought. If the roads are good, the cars are smooth, and like we say in our local parlance, our drivers have taken paraga, opeyin, and all of that, do we expect safe arrival? It will only take our common character. Let us pray. If even the road is bad, the car is good, and the driver is bad, we should be expecting accident. You see that the common denominator in this is the human component. Let me shock you, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Nigerian policy on education had written some years back, as far as 1993 or thereabout, that all schools in Nigeria, from nursery and primary to universities, should have a facility called counseling unit or counseling center. Flash back your mind. Were you having such in your secondary schools? How many visited counseling unit or psychological unit in their universities? This is what is responsible for poor academic performance, not necessarily because the children are not brilliant, but they do not have what we call examination prep talk. They are not prepared for how to answer questions. What are the examiner's expectations? Here in like a classic place, our students are ready to write, they are ready to read, they are ready to work. if parents do not pay their school fees on time, and it's going to be last minute to the exams, take it. Even examination at any level elicits anxiety. Psychologists call it examination anxiety. And now you are adding additional quantum of anxiety-inducing factor. Yet you expect the same results. And láti ṣe bọ́n ṣe ń ṣe kó tó lè rí bó ṣe yẹ kó rí. In other words, you cannot continue to do it the wrong way and expect a positive desired result. Take this home as I stand before you this evening. Nigerian government has approved to all federal universities in Nigeria 100 million each to establish counseling center. 75 million to all federal polytechnics in Nigeria to establish counseling center or psychological center or psychological counseling and human development center. 35 million each to all colleges of education. There's some of us are asking, what is happening to private universities? Are we not all producing for the global market called Nigeria or global market called the world? Food for thought. And more often than not, I can tell you that the world will expect so much from the private universities or private institutions than even from public institutions. Let us look at career. The psychologists who are supposed to help the adolescents to navigate career choices, where are they in secondary schools? So how many of us have experienced going through vocational interest inventory? I can tell you that not many in Nigeria, even as we speak today. That is why you find students wanting to be psychologists today, pharmacists tomorrow, a computer engineer the next day, and so on. And the father or parents want an art student to become a pharmacy or a medical doctor. There is need for continuous and established and serious-minded approach to the delivery of psychological services if we really mean to deliver. All those advanced communities and societies around the world that we want Nigeria to be like, they thrive, I can tell you for free, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, that they thrive essentially hinging on psychological services delivery. And if that is missing, where are we going to have our development? More often than not, Nigerian communities make the mistake of feeling that psychological services are for students. No. Who is in need of premarital counseling? Who is in need for marital conflict management? Who is in need for industrial and organizational services? And are these still all students? Definitely no. In various offices today, there are unnecessary, what we call in our local parlance, cho-cho-cho or itenubole, without attempting to mention ganusi. Are we together? So this is the way to go. Psychological services is a major missing link in the development of the socio-economic activities of Nigeria. And for us to get it right, we need to put square pegs in square holes. I want to thank you for your time. Thank you very much.